everybody. Welcome to Rock Around the Ring. I am Kid Cadet, joined always by the beautiful and talented Miss Sweet D, Danica Jenelle. How you doing, girl?
Oh, why, thank you. I'm doing lovely. How are you?
I'm doing all right, just
Cool.
hanging in there. But our day's about to get a little bit better. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to bring out, without a doubt, one of the greatest musicians in the entire galaxy universe and anywhere in the Milky Way. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one and only Glen Sobel.
Hey,
What's up, Glen?
Kitchen live. What's up?
Yeah.
Are you going to cook for us?
No, this ain't no cooking show.
Okay. Well, that was our first question. So, what was that?
I'll wash some dishes. I'll wash some dishes for you.
I appreciate that. No one likes that chore. All right, Danica, why don't you get us started?
So we're just going to go back into your history first and then work our way towards present day. One question that we had was, did you participate at all in like a high school band?
Oh my God, there were so many high school bands. Like, marching band, orchestra, jazz band, spring drumline, the high school musicals, my own rock band playing parties, all that. Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, Danica in high school was a flautist, and I played trumpet. So we tried to do some form of a band together, but flute and trumpet, unfortunately, the neighbors were not too thrilled.
Jethro Tull tribute, or you could do, something that would be a mariachi rock thing with trumpet. I don't know. You had some options.
Well, see, that's why I ended up taking guitar instead.
Were you in the marching band?
No, God.
No,
we weren't good enough for that.
Speak for yourself, young lady. I was first chair.
That was a tough thing, marching band. It was a lot of discipline. It taught me how to practice and how to prepare and rehearse.
Well, kind of to segue off of that, now I would say that you're definitely a mentor for a lot of up and coming musicians. And I want to know, what is your favorite thing about being a teacher and a mentor to the next generation?
Well, I love seeing when a young drummer gets something and then you realize that they're being turned on to a whole new universe of possibilities where they start getting obsessed with this new concept that I might have shown them. And you see their brain turning and working in real time. And then they keep coming back to a lesson and showing you what they did with what you showed them. That's always so rewarding, really.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so obviously we have to bring up the incomparable Alice Cooper. And one of the things, when I had spoken to him, he said that he guarantees, and I'm going to try to get this right, you're going to make money, you're going to see the world, and you're going to get stitches. Now, out of curiosity, have you ever had any injuries, either while on tour with Alice or with the Hollywood Vampires?
I've had stitches. Yeah.
You got your stitches. Okay.
Yeah, he's right. It's in 2012 when I had to miss just a few weeks of tour and I had to get neck surgery. So I got my stitches back here. Yeah. Ooh. He's not kidding.
I was gonna say, like, with the last setup that I have at least seen, you were far enough away that you're not too close to the sword to necessarily get impaled.
No, Tommy has though.
He has.
It was in Helsinki. No, it was in I think it was in Helsinki, Finland. His leather vest kind of saved it. It didn't go through, but it did leave like a bruise, and it made the local paper in that city. Alice Cooper guitarist gets accidentally stabbed on stage. That happened.
Noted.
That's intense. So musically, in regard to Alice and Hollywood Vampires, what would you say is there a particular song that you would say really lets your talent as a drummer shine?
Oh, in the Alice catalog, I mean, God, there's a lot. I really love playing Feed My Frankenstein. It's like the only song in the set usually that has any kind of remotely funky vibe to it. And of course, $1 Billion Babies is great. That's such an iconic drum intro. And it's a real busy drum song. And there's a lot. Halo of Flies was always great. That's like the long sort of prog rock epic with the drum solo in the middle of it. And lately, I've really loved playing My Stars, which is kind of a deep cut for the big time Alice fans. Like, they can't believe we're playing it. Sure, there's a lot.
Okay, so I also want to know, and I know Alice recently said that before a show, one of his pre-show rituals is that he likes to throw knives literally at whatever picture he can find. So do you have any pre-show rituals?
Yeah, it doesn't include throwing knives.
Oh, okay. So we're safe.
Yeah,
okay.
he definitely does that. That is completely true. Yeah, everyone's got their own kind of pre-show rituals. I spend a good amount of time warming up. It doesn't sound exciting. I'm not beer bonging Jack Daniels or anything. But no, I spend time warming up. The show is super physical on everybody, not just the drums. But it is something where the show is just nonstop. Alice doesn't talk between songs to the audience. He doesn't break that wall. You know, he doesn't break character. So it's one song into the next, into the next. There's very few breaks. Yeah, cheap camera holder here. Very few breaks in the set. So I got to be physically warmed up, not just my hands, but everything, my back, my shoulders, my arms. So I got a whole ritual for that. And it involves using like a heating pad and getting a little bit of good calories in right before playing. Sure. Not exciting, but that's what it is.
I think that's pretty exciting.
Rituals are rituals, you know, and they're there for a reason. They keep you safe, keep you focused.
Yeah.
So the next question that I had was, I was watching a lot of your videos, and especially your one about stick tricks and showmanship really caught my attention. So I wanted to know, what would you say to the people watching now is your favorite stick trick?
Yeah, there's definitely a few. You're probably talking about the Drumeo video that's made the rounds. Drumeo, the website, they're amazing. They have like the algorithm that makes the next suggested video come up be one of theirs if you're a drummer of any kind. So yeah, that video's made the rounds. I was always really partial to doing, the underside of the cymbal down to the flat normal side that you'd hit. It's called an uppercut. People have called it that before. But I always like that. You got to have your cymbals set at a certain level. They can't be too low because otherwise you couldn't get underneath. But yeah, I've always been partial to that. And it's really hard on your shoulder and neck and everything. So you really got to be strong up here because you got this whipping motion you're doing with your right or left arm. But I always like that.
Well, one of the side note, when Danica and I were kind of putting everything together yesterday, she mentioned the first time that she ever saw you play live. What was it, Danica, in 2001?
Yeah, with Beautiful Creatures.
You're not that old. Really?
Yeah, I saw
I
was at Ozfest.
What city?
Fort Lauderdale or Miami, whatever it was that year.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember those shows because it was ridiculous.
Because you opened for Manson.
Yeah, it was hot and humid, especially in Florida. And yeah, we would play anywhere between, the late morning into the early afternoon. They would rotate times. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Manson was on that tour, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, but you didn't see Ozfest. You saw us open for Manson at one of his solo shows.
No, it was Ozfest. Right?
It was Ozfest. Okay, because we also did some shows with Marilyn Manson around that time where it was just us and him, like in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, places like that. But yeah, that was a crazy summer.
I like how your memory is like, Florida, hot and humid.
Yeah,
nothing's changed.
Yeah,
it's the same. It's just as gross.
Yes.
Surprise.
Okay, so one of the other things I want to ask you about is what inspired your makeup that you wear for the tours?
Yeah, a little bit of Adamant, a little bit of Nikki Sixx. Nothing, that's too deep into thought. It was just something that seemed to work. It's not the whole face. It's something I could put on pretty quick before the show every night. And it works. It's changed slightly here and there over the course of the years as things do. But yeah, that's basically it. I like that the way that the stuff looked on Adamant. I thought it would work for me.
Awesome.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about your fandoms. Are there any bands that you have not gotten to see live that you still wish that you could see?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, bands that are currently playing, yeah. Who have I not seen? That's a good question. I've seen almost everything that I really want to.
That's nice.
It's been a long time since I've seen certain bands like Deftones, just because I'm always away whenever they play in Los Angeles. But Yeah, and I caught like 2 minutes of them when we played on Carolina Rebellion with them. But we watched from the side, then we had to go because we had to get ready to play our set. So I always miss them. I haven't seen that band play in like 20 years.
Wow.
Well, what about a band that is no longer touring, or maybe that unfortunately has like deceased members, so they're just not abandoning?
Oh yeah, I know. Like the original lineup of Queen, stuff like that. Of course, that would have been amazing to see.
Yeah, that would be. Oh man, what about? But
we've got lots of footage online. We have plenty of footage. Anytime you want, you can watch the Live Aid set. It's all on YouTube. Next best thing.
Oh yeah, gosh, I couldn't imagine. Like, what do you think? Like, would you have enjoyed being at a show like Live Aid or Woodstock? Like, are you that type of like person that you want to stand there amongst millions of people? And
well, yeah, being like a musician that's played so many shows like that, I don't know. That's a good question. Would I want to be in the crowd? I kind of have been in the crowd. I mean, I didn't even think of this just now. I brought up Queen and Live Aid, and I wasn't even realizing that just back in February, which feels like now, of course, 2 years ago, but back in February, we, the Alice Cooper Band, did a tour of Australia. That was the last thing we did before everything shut down. But we did that tour, and we played a benefit for the brush fire, the huge fires that were out of control in Australia last year that was coming into 2020. Yeah, and we played a stadium show, and everyone was doing a 20-minute set, and the headliner was Queen with Adam Lambert. So that was exactly, or as close as you can get to Live Aid. Queen played their exact Live Aid set in order, and we watched from the audience, but it was like in the area near where the mixing board is, where the artist can walk out and just stand in this open area. So yeah, we were in the crowd, and it was amazing.
I just saw that they have a new documentary about Adam Lambert touring with Queen and on Netflix, actually. So,
oh, good, something to watch. Good.
Yeah, definitely. Like during this like quarantine downtime, I'm always looking for something good to watch. Actually, I rewatched Hired Guns yesterday, since that is on Amazon Prime. What was it like being part of that project?
Yeah, that was a blast, just because it was such a fun hang. Not just when we filmed all those musical segments, but also just all the different premieres and press conferences. I must have watched it 3 times at different screenings, and there was the official premiere, and there would be Q&A, and just hanging with everyone in the movie. I have some very good friends now, just from the experience of doing that, including the director of Fran's Shrine, who I talk to all the time. He lives right near me here. Fran's been staying with Ray Parker Jr. a lot. Ray Parker is the guy that did Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, yeah.
Yeah, and he's in Hired Gun a little bit, but he has done so much. And the first time I ever watched the movie was over at Ray Parker's house, which is right close by here in Calabasas.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I had first met Ray Parker. His neighbor is Richie Sambora. And I was playing with Richie a little bit, with Richie and Orianthi. And so I was at a daytime party at Richie's house. I think it was like a graduation party for Richie's daughter. She was graduating high school. It was just a pool party hang. And I met Ray Parker, and he lives like 3 doors down or something. And then cut to 2017. And yeah, there was this sort of viewing party at Ray's house. And Fran, the director, said he's doing a documentary on Ray Parker, because the guy has played on so many songs and written so many other hit songs that people aren't aware of. So yeah, I got to meet and become friends with a lot of these people through doing that movie. And it was fun. The movie it's happy, it's sad, it's true, it's everything.
Well, it certainly makes, I think everyone that knows or has met Alice knows that he is a genuinely awesome soul and an angel. And I've never met Rob Zombie, but he came across as another great being. But unfortunately, Billy Joel, like, I think after watching that, I'm like, I can't listen to Scenes from an Italian Restaurant anymore. Like, I'm just so, like, I want to fight for liberty so hard,
Yeah, well, he seems to be in good spirits. Liberty is another guy that I got to know a little better during the filming and all the premieres and everything. Really great guy. He just came out with a book where I think he talks about a lot of things from his perspective. I think the book is just called Liberty. So hey, I'm giving him a plug for his new book.
Neat.
Very influential drummer he is.
Yeah, well, I will add that to my list with the Adam Lambert Netflix and the Liberty book. Check, check, and check. What about, let's see, a dream artist that you would like the opportunity to play drums for?
You know, I have played for a lot of people, fortunately. I mean, I'm just so fortunate, and I realize this every day. But I've been able to play for or play with a lot of people I grew up listening to and idolizing. It could be situations where they were a guest. Like, you know, I played in Motley Crue for a week when I subbed for Tommy Lee.
Right.
Well, I was in a band in high school with my best friends, and we used to play a couple of Motley Crue songs at backyard parties in our set, you know, things like that. And, you know, I've played with so many of the guys at Aerosmith. I'm in the Hollywood Vampires with Joe Perry, but I've played with Steven Tyler maybe 12, 15 times, and Brad Whitford. So that's a hard question to answer because I've been in this lucky position. I mean, I would say Jeff Beck, who I've always loved and wanted to play with. Well, Jeff is on a song on the Hollywood Vampires record that we did that came out last year. So I haven't played with him, but he's on a track I perform. You know, everyone does their parts separately. But that would be great to play live with him someday.
And you've also played for Weird Al as well, right?
Yeah, that's been cool. I've been hearing him since I was a kid, and his drummer of over 35 years now, I think, John Bermuda Schwartz. He's been a friend of mine since I was a kid. He's been like a supporter of mine early on in the Guitar Center drum off stuff, and so I always get to tell him like, hey, guess what? I'm playing with your boss on New Year's. You know, it's always Alice's manager's New Year's benefit in Maui, because Al lives there, and so he participates in this yearly event we do in Maui, along with Steven Tyler and the Doobie Brothers guys, all people that live there, plus other people that fly in and join us on that event. It's this surreal, crazy event, like, you know, Jim Carrey singing "School's Out" with Alice and us. Things like that happen. It's just wild. Yeah,
That's
it's
so
all on
cool.
YouTube.
And you were talking about Shep, right?
Yeah.
The Supermensch. Do you have any stories about him? Any random little stories?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Shep himself, between him and Alice and Bob Ezrin, the producer, who has produced so much of Alice's stuff, the hits back in the day and a lot of the newer stuff. Between them, they know everybody, and they have a ton of stories. I mean, Shep is just this guy. He's practically like the mayor of Maui, it seems, because he holds that benefit there, and he has this big party at his house a couple of days before New Year's. And this party, it's just everybody shows up. You see like Oprah and Clint Eastwood and people like that. And he's got this house where all these people just come and can let their hair down and chill out and have a good time. And if you watch that documentary Supermensch, which Mike Myers directed, it makes Shep seem like he's the center of the showbiz universe. And in some ways he is. I mean, he kind of wrote the book on how rock and roll management is done. And he's hustled for Alice. I always love the story about how Alice was supposed to play at Wembley Arena in London in the early 70s. And the show was not selling well at all. And they thought, well, how do we get the word out? There hasn't been good promotion on this show. So Shep rented this big truck that was carrying a giant billboard advertisement for the show, as if the truck was on its way to set up this advertisement somewhere on a billboard. But the truck broke down in Piccadilly Square, and it made like the news, and the news covered that there was this truck with this giant Alice Cooper billboard for a show, and it was free publicity.
Nice.
And the show ended up doing well, and I think selling out. And it's just crazy to think about that, because we've played Wembley Arena so many times since then with Alice or with Hollywood Vampires. It's like, yeah, this is the venue where Shep hustled to make a show sell out. Crazy.
Man, I also love the chicken incident story.
Yeah. That's when Alice was being produced by Frank Zappa at the time. Zappa had kind of discovered Alice, and yeah, people thought Alice might have slaughtered a chicken on stage. He didn't. The way Alice tells it is someone threw a chicken on stage, and Alice, being from Detroit, didn't know anything about chickens, thought they could fly, and so he threw the chicken, but it went like this into the first few rows, and this crazy, insane crowd like tore up the chicken and threw chicken pieces back. I'm sorry animal rights people that happened, but it did happen. But the story in the paper the next day said that Alice did this. And Frank Zappa called up Alice saying, "Did you slaughter and murder a chicken on stage last night?" Alex said, "No, that's not what happened." And Frank said, "Don't tell anybody. Let them think it was you. This is great. This publicity, you know?" Yeah.
I like how you're like, he didn't know because he's from Detroit. Like, I didn't know either.
That's what he says. You know? And one of Alice's favorite bands is the Yardbirds. You know, they had Jimmy Page and Jeff Eric Clapton. A chicken is a yardbird, you know?
Heck
yeah. Get the name. What's that?
So kind of, I guess, on the other side of the coin from that would be, has there ever been like a really weird gig that you had to turn down?
Weird gig, well, there's just been gigs I had to turn down because of schedule conflicts. Those things always happen. But I can't think of anything that's weird necessarily, but it's a good problem. Look, if you got to turn down a gig because you're already busy, then that's good.
Good.
What about a guilty pleasure album or artist? Because it's so funny. Like, we asked this question, you know, to like WWE wrestlers, or we asked Corey Taylor, and for some reason the consensus is everyone seems to really love Britney Spears. Like, is there something about Brit that we need to know about, or what is it?
That would be my first choice, but no, I can recognize a good melody when I hear it. It doesn't matter what the artist is. Oftentimes, these are outside writers, and this song existed in some form with a whole different singer on the demo of the recording, and then a pop star will make that song their own and sing their part over the song, and the original demo singer's vocals get erased.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. I'm not opposed to anything that would be considered a guilty pleasure. In fact, I say like what you're going to like. Don't feel guilty about liking something. It's melody and it's lyrics. It's universal. You could take one of these pop songs and put it into a rock context, and you could not even realize the origin. Like, I think about Judas Priest, right? We all love Rob Halford, Judas Priest. Some of their hits early on, they're well-known tracks before they really came into their own with Another Thing Coming and Living After Midnight. Before that, there were covers by Fleetwood Mac, you know, the Green Manalishi, which is brilliant because if you only know the Judas Priest version and then you go back and listen to the Fleetwood Mac version, you go, oh my God, this was brilliant of them to think of covering this. And this was the original Fleetwood Mac before Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. This is when Fleetwood Mac was like a hardcore blues, English blues band with Peter Green on guitar. But there was that, and then Judas Priest covered a Joan Baez song. Joan Baez, the folk singer, and Judas Priest did Diamonds and Rust. And you listen to, you only know the Priest version, then you listen to Joan Baez singing with an acoustic guitar. You just go again, oh my God, that was brilliant that they made it into a metal song. So you just don't know the origin of something. You can't prejudge just because the artist that's singing it is someone you think is dumb or cheesy. You know what I mean?
No, I respect that so much. And
good answer.
People in the chat respect it as well. So thank you for that answer.
Agreed. So here's a question that we have to ask all of our artist buddies that we get on the show here. What has music making been like for you during quarantine?
It's been minimal, pretty much. There's definitely been a lot of compilations and collaborations I've been a part of, just where I've filmed or recorded my stuff here. I'm lucky enough that where I live, I have a practice space downstairs where I can play. My neighbors are pretty cool about it. I know they can hear it a bit, and they're cool. But it's all good. And the most recent one was something I just did with Jen Majura from Evanescence.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was. She's been doing these things called 1-minute jams for her YouTube and social media. And it's these very short versions of songs. And she picks these like songs you wouldn't expect, like guilty pleasures, maybe. I don't know. But this last one that I just did with her, it was Crazy Crazy Nights by Kiss. And she's just singing on it. I didn't know that she was such a great singer. And the guitarist on it is this amazing player named Matthias Eklund, who's from Sweden, plays in an amazing band called Freak Kitchen. And not the first time I've played on a track with Matthias. He's been around a while, and he's just one of those wacky, crazy.
Uh-oh.
And we're frozen.
Oh, no. We lost him.
This happened.
Good answer, too.
Welcome back, Glenn. Are we still frozen?
Are we back?
There we
I
go.
think it was just a glitch in the
back?
matrix. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
My phone
Technology.
rang.
All right, so
Can
we're
you
gonna
hear
ask one more question, and then we actually have a game that we're gonna play. Glenn, can you hear us?
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Now the mic's muted.
Okay,
now
how
we're
about
all
now?
muted.
There
Can
you go.
Yeah.
There
We
go.
can hear you.
me?
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay, perfect.
My phone rang.
It happens. You're popular.
Now
All right.
I don't know if I could hear. I'm only hearing one of you right now.
Do you want to sign out and sign back in with the link that I sent
Yeah,
you?
she's speaking, and I cannot hear her.
Danica, let him know.
Okay, go ahead and sign back out and then sign in with the same link that Heather sent you.
Okay,
Cool. Great.
no problem.
Awesome. We'll see you shortly.
Be back in a minute. Okay, so I guess while we are waiting for Glenn to return, we can talk about next week's guest because we actually have 3 guests next week. So we have the fantabulous Milo Beasley. We love him. And we also have Nina Bergman. And to round out the trio, we have Josh Petersdorf. So that is going to be pretty awesome. Okay, my mic is going through weird too. So let me fix my technology while we're waiting for him to rejoin. Let me see. Check in the mic. So yeah, so once again, we have Milo Beasley, we have Nina Bergman, and we have Josh Petersdorf. Josh Petersdorf is, of course, the voice of Roadhog from Overwatch, but he is also a wrestling commentator. And Nina Bergman, it's funny, we'll have to talk about it next week. She is a musician. She's a beautiful singer. She's an actress. She's also a voiceover actress, but she somehow ended up in the wrestling business, which we'll have to talk about that next week because it was a bit of a fluke. And so, yeah, that's happening next week. So you guys are so awesome. Thank you for tuning in every Monday with us. And like I always say to Danica, this quarantine has been slightly palpable. What's the better word?
Palatable?
Yeah, that one. That's what I said, foliage. Because we are able to do this, even though Danica is off in Texas and I'm down in hot and humid Miami, we get to come together every week and talk to some of the people that we are big fans of. So thank you guys for being so patient, and hopefully we'll get Glenn back in. And if not, then
And we'll play a game with each other. There you go. He's almost on his way back.
Got the
There he
spinning
is.
back in the kitchen. Can you
There
hear
we
it, Glenn?
Yeah.
I'm reading your palm.
I can hear you.
Speak. Okay, here we go.
There we go. Sweet.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Okay, you can hear both of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, I got a phone. That's what happened.
It's all good. No worries. No worries at all. We're a very ragtag show, and we're fine. Okay, so we're gonna ask you one more question, and then we actually have a game that we're gonna play with you. So, I guess, what are you a fan of? Like, what are some of your hobbies that you like to do when you're not on the road, or maybe now while you're home?
Oh, well, I like working out, whether that's going to the gym or lately it's been more working out here. But yeah, things like that, going to the movies, pretty basic stuff. I drumming is my life and it's my hobby. I end up practicing so damn much, So yeah, that's what I'm spending more time on these days than usual.
Awesome. Okay. So, Glenn, we have a game that we're going to play with you. It's a game of Would You Rather. Now, I'm going to tell you what I wanted to call it, and we didn't call it this because I sat and thought about it, and I was like, no, we can't do that. I wanted to call it Drum or Drummer, but I was like, no, like, we're not doing anything based on carry. Okay. So, this is a game of Would You Rather, and we are titling it Rock or Roll. So, we have some lovely graphics that we're hopefully going to bring up on the screen. Are they coming up? All right, Danica, read the first one.
All right. So the first, would you rather participate in an air drum competition or participate in a rock band competition?
Is this Rock Band the video game or an actual
Yes.
Rock Band?
Rock Band, the video game.
Yes.
You mean the video game? Oh my God. Boy, I hate both of those. But I guess air drum. Because Rock Band has nothing to do with actually playing an instrument.
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the next one. Would you rather play Neil Peart in a biopic or play John Donham in a biopic?
Ooh, you guys, where are you getting these questions from?
Our
Probably
brains.
Bonham, just because there's just so much more history. I mean, Rush, God, they're around 40 years. How do you compare the two? But you picked the two bands that are the reason I started playing drums. How did you do that?
You're psychic.
Yeah, I'd have to flip a coin on that. Yeah, you're psychic.
Okay, so you
coin.
Well, how about you do both biopics?
I'd watch those.
Right. Just got to schedule them separately. Yeah. Jeez, good one.
Here's the next one.
All right, our next one. Would you rather use Alice's guillotine or wear the Frank and Alice costume?
Oh, the guillotine. Yeah, I don't want to get in that Frank and Alice costume. That thing is just probably smells horrible and it's hot in there. I don't know how Alice's assistant Kyler did that for so many years, but he got really good at running around with that thing. He took it out in the street one day. I think we were in Columbus, Ohio. And he took it out in the street and just walked around and freaked out people in cars. And he walked into a Barnes and Noble bookstore, and yeah, that was funny. But I've never gotten in that thing. I don't care to either. So guillotine.
Nita said the same thing.
Yeah, Nita said she put on one foot and she's like, "I'm out."
Yeah, I've never even tried the foot. I didn't know that. Jeez.
All right, here's the next one. Would you rather only listen to music from the 50s or only listen to music from the 70s?
Well, 70s it would have to be, yeah. Nothing against the 50s, but 70s, come on. That's when rock was really established.
Point taken. All right.
Think about what a difference there was. Just 20 years, and think about how quickly it changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
All right. Let's do our next one. Would you rather be able to speak every language or play every instrument?
Oh, yeah, right. Good one, yeah. I mean, I'd probably go with play every instrument, but then again, if you spoke every language, that's pretty cool. You could talk to girls in any and every language. And yeah, but the every instrument thing, you could just create your own music endlessly. Yeah. I guess I'd have to go with instruments. Yeah.
Oh, have you ever seen, hold on.
Oh my God, she's breaking it out.
Have you ever seen an automaton?
What's that?
So basically it is the most annoying thing. So hold on. I don't really know how to play it, but a couple weeks ago we asked a question about random instruments. Yeah. And so I bought it because we asked about the automaton. So like you play the front of it and then you move its mouth. And this one happens to be the Kiss edition. So, automaton.
Hey, this week in Rare Instruments, there's your new show.
I know. Oh, that was terrible. All right, next one.
Wow. Next, please.
Okay. Would you rather listen to Baba O'Reilly on repeat for 24 hours or listen to Bohemian Rhapsody on repeat for 24 hours?
I'm just laughing at the question. Well, yeah, I love both those songs. I've played both those songs. The Hollywood Vampires, we play Baba O'Reilly. So I think it's one of those songs where you can kind of say this about both, but it's one of those songs where you could almost hear something different every time you listen to it. So I think I'd have to go with the Who. That synth line, all of that, it's just, the whole song is a masterpiece. They both are, right? I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is an epic as well. But I think I'd go with the Who just because I like that song that much more, You're making me choose sides here. This is not fair.
Sorry.
Guys, it's not fair.
Sorry. Our bad. All right, here's the next one.
All right. Oh, I'm proud of this one. Would you rather only be able to play an electric kit or play a different kit every time you play?
Oh my God, rock and roll and electric drums, that does not mix most of the time. And I supplement my kit with electronic stuff. I do supplement the live Alice kit and other kits that have had some electronics. But yeah, I'd rather have to deal with a different kit every time, which is what a lot of touring acts have to do, because if they're just flying back and forth and playing a couple shows on the weekend, they're not shipping gear every time. So drummers literally have to deal with different kits every time they play local gear. So it's not unheard of.
I also want to know if you've played any of the drums that look like that, because what is happening there?
Yeah, what is that?
What are you looking at? What
The one on the different drum kit one. What is it?
They're like
that looks like a Roland D kit. And yeah, I can't remember what that's called. That's a really old school 70s, 80s looking kit. I always thought that looked ugly, but the idea is that it projects the sound straight out, you know?
I'm guessing it didn't work that well. Or we'd still be using it.
There's vintage drum collectors that are probably shouting right now. They know what company that is. I'm lame. I don't remember.
It's all right.
But they weren't drums worth owning.
Apparently.
All right, here's the next one. Okay, would you rather sub in for Phil Collins or sub in for Questlove?
Oh my God. I mean, two drummers I love and are so different and so influential. But probably Phil Collins, just because I grew up listening to Genesis all the time, and their Three Sides Live was a very influential record for me. And that's when Genesis was touring. It's a live record. Three of the four sides, and I know there's not sides anymore, but 3 of the 4 sides were live, and that's when Genesis had Chester Thompson on drums, and Phil Collins would sing out front and then sometimes come back and play on the second drum kit, which was it was amazing for everybody watching. It was totally entertaining. And me and a friend in high school, we used to kind of pretend we were those two guys. We had 2 drum sets set up, and we did this whole thing for our high school talent show where we had 6 drummers, but there was 2 drum sets, and just me and him at the very end of this whole act. We did this double drum solo together that was in the mold and the style of Phil Collins and Chester Thompson. So Phil, for sure.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, you were doing the cool stuff, and Danica and I, we were pretending like we were the Spice Girls. I mean, we still do, but that's okay. What are you gonna do?
Terrible.
Okay, here's the next one.
Wait. But who's sporty? Who's posh? Who's scary?
I was Ginger and Danica was Baby.
Which is funny because now we've swapped hair colors.
Yeah.
Ginger
I feel like I'm the Baby Spice now. I don't know.
Ginger was Jerry Halliwell, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. And she had a solo record, right?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know my pop star.
Apparently. All right, this is the last one. Go ahead, Danica.
All right. Would you rather only be able to play the cowbell or only play the boomwhackers?
The what?
Boomwhackers.
So you hit them and
you
hit them and they like make a different pitch. All of them are a different pitch. So when you put it all together, you can like hear the melody of a song.
I'd probably say cowbell, just because I've been the guy that's done that, and it's not that bad. I mean, the cowbell can be the ultimate timekeeper. And I have done that. Guess what? Oh my God. I've done that with Blue Oyster Cult on Peart Reaper. Yeah. They were, this is, YouTube, everything's out there. They were special guests on one of these Alice Cooper benefits we do for Alice's charity called Solid Rock. And so every December there's Christmas pudding in Phoenix in December. So every year we, the Alice group or Hollywood Vampires, we play. There's all kinds of other different artists on the bill, and it's a big charity benefit thing. And so Blue Oyster Cult was on the bill, and we had played some shows with them before. And I know Buck Johnson a little bit, or I'm sorry, Buck Dharma, not Buck Johnson, who's in the Vampires. Buck Dharma, the guitarist in Blue Oyster Cult. And so I knew that at sound check I was gonna find Buck because I wanted to beat everyone else to the punch. And I found him, and I said, "Cowbell, who's doing it?" And he said, "You want to do it?" I said, "Yeah." And so I played on Reaper.
That's so cool.
Doing the Will Ferrell.
Did you have like the tiny tee?
What? No,
a little crop top.
No. Yeah, but I was kind of doing the moves a little bit.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Okay, so any final thoughts that you want to leave us with here today?
It's just cool that you're doing this. I mean, think about it. Even like 5 years ago, we couldn't have done this. You know, live stream, StreamYard, Instagram, all this stuff. So yeah, you're made of it, and that's great. That's what I got to say.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate it because
really, really appreciate having you on because you are such a legend, and it is such an honor to just be in the same virtual room with you.
Yes.
And well, I appreciate that. And what is it I see this advertisement for this got put on a lot of different pages, like Comic-Con, or what is it?
Sure. So Danica and I work for a comic convention called GalaxyCon, and we do different cities all over the US. So our next one is in Raleigh, tentatively in December. And if you're around, you should come on out. We get to host panels for some really cool people like you. And, you know, it's really cool to just be able to have the opportunity to pick people's brains in that element. So we love it. So
these are mainly Comic-Cons, yeah?
Yeah.
And because I mean, look, I was a comic book kid. I had a business when I was 12, 13, 14 with my dad, and we would take booths at the San Diego Comic-Con. And this is before San Diego Comic-Con became the giant multimedia event that it is today. But there used to be a monthly Comic-Con in downtown LA at the Ambassador Hotel. I was in that whole scene way back.
Wow. Do you have a favorite comic or a comic writer?
Well, always liked X-Men back then, and it's crazy. I was reading X-Men comics when they're basing a lot of these movies on the storyline. You know, like if you dig X-Men Days of Future Past with the Sentinels, well, I remember reading those comics. They're basing that whole Sentinel timeline on. You know, I remember X-Men number 137 was Dark Phoenix, and I got multiple copies of that still. And yeah, I was into it. I mean, I haven't gone to a Comic-Con in forever, but it would be interesting to go to one.
We'll have to get you out there. And actually on Tuesday nights, the owner of GalaxyCon and one of his good friends, Patty, who's another one of the moderators, they host a show called Talks Comics, where they get to like talk to some of the greatest like writers and illustrators of all time. So that's been really cool to participate in also, yeah.
You know who was very, very popular as an illustrator back when I was way into it was Frank Miller.
Oh,
Daredevil. Yeah, Daredevil and some of the graphic novels. There was him. There was Keith Geffen, John Byrne, who did X-Men Fantastic Four. Yeah, it was the illustrator.
They just had Keith on theirs. Yeah, Keith did theirs, and Jim Shooter, and I mean Peter David. Like, it's so insane. And listening to some of their stories are so crazy. If you don't mind me going off on a weird side note. So Peter David, who they had last week, he was working with Marvel at the time, and he was helping to write for Hulk, and he also did a version of Spider-Man. But he was saying there was a version of a Star Wars comic that was released before the big reveal that Luke and Leia were brother and sister. So they released this comic early. So he had to go around to every single comic shop and tell the comic owners, we need to take this off the shelf. You know, you can't put the comics out early. Like, I can't even imagine what the industry was like, you know, back in like the comic book golden era heyday.
Yeah. What is the heyday? I don't know what's considered the heyday.
I think that's debatable for every comic fan.
Yeah. Because obviously...
I think when I was way into it, people were way into the speculation on comics, like buying multiple copies of something because you're speculating it's going to be worth something, and you check the Overstreet price guide and you see if you gambled correctly. I mean, I did way back then. I remember Legion of Superheroes number 287 was Keith Geffen, and that was a big seller, and I was able to acquire like a mass amount of copies of those at wholesale. And made some good money selling them at, I don't know, $4, $5, $6 each when it cost like 36 cents a copy for me at the time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
If only you still had them.
I have an original Flash comic.
Really?
Oh, yeah. DC, yeah, from way back.
Oh, it's in the other room.
Yeah, I was going to say, I started like a little while ago. I was collecting Hellboy graphic novels. There was always something about Hellboy that I always found fascinating. But yeah, I need to get more back into it. And Glenn, we got to get you out to a convention. And so We can.
Raleigh. You're going to Raleigh maybe in December. You're saying
December 10th.
Raleigh is cool. Raleigh's a good rock town. There's a drum shop there called 2112 Percussion, obviously named after the Rush record, but that's a great drum shop. I've done drum seminars there and taught there a little bit when I passed through town. And a good buddy of mine from LA lives there now, and he's a drummer. I always look forward to going there to Raleigh. So if it happens, have fun.
Awesome. Yay. Well, I think we have reached our time. So thank you so much again, Glen. We really appreciate you just giving us some moments of your day.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't have to go anywhere. You're in my kitchen.
Sounds love it. All right, guys. We will see you guys next Monday. Once again, we have Milo Beasley, Nina Bergman, and Josh Petersdorf, and we will see you guys next week. Be safe, everybody.